Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly ask for your attention as we are about to begin. Good evening, everyone. Before we start, please kindly turn on your cameras and keep your microphones muted throughout the session. This will help us create a more engaging and connect atmosphere for our participants. Okay, thank you very much for your understanding and cooperation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, and warm regards greeting to everyone. I'm honored to welcome the head of Department of Economics, Faculty of Economics and Business, Dr. Rerpol Ferry Prasetya, SA, Master of Applied Economics. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker from Asharqiyah University, Oman. We sincerely thank Professor Mohamed Battour from Asharqiyah University for his kind support in the Adjunct Professor Guest Lecture Program. It is truly our greatest honor to have you here with us today. Finally, a warm welcome to our respected participants joining the guest lecture at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya. And before we begin, let's ask all over a prayer to the Almighty God, the most gracious and merciful, so that this event may run smoothly and without any obstacles. Pray begin. Thank you. We hope and pray that our session will be blessed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Amin. And before we proceed further, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Akif Muhammad Fali, and I am student of Economics Department, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya. It is truly my honor and pleasure to serve as the Master of Ceremony in this evening, Monday, 26th of May 2025, for our event, the Adjunct Professor Guest Lecture at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya. Even though today's session is being held online, we believe it will be no less meaningful, insightful, and engaging than an in-person event. Let us now continue with the first welcoming speech, which will be delivered by the head of the Department of Economics, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya, Dr. Rerpol Ferry Prasetya, SA, Master of Applied Economics. Dr. Ferry also will officially open today's event. We respectfully invite Dr. Rerpol Ferry Prasetya to deliver his speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable, our esteemed speaker, Professor Mohamed Battour from Sharqiyah University, Oman, and also our student, our master ceremony, and also the moderator. Yeah. So I am honored to welcome you all to our today's Young Professor Guest Lecture. So this event theme the sustainability and ethical consideration in health tourism development represent our commitment to advancing knowledge and fostering global economic collaboration in fields that are both timely and impactful. Yeah. So we are privileged to have Professor Mohamed Battour. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Syukron jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khairan. Barakallah.
With us to share your expertise and insight of the crucial topic of health tourism, a sector that continues to grow in important for both economic development and ethical business practice worldwide. We look forward to gaining valuable perspective that will inspire our academic community and contribute to the ongoing discourse in sustainable and ethical tourism. I would also like to take the opportunity to express our gratitude to Dr. Indri, who has received the Adjunct Professor grant from our university and
So,
whose
congratulations.
dedication has made today even possible. Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Indri. Yeah. And thank you for everyone, also my beloved student who has joined us today. I wish you all a fruitful and engaging session. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prof.
Thank
Battour.
you, sir. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Erpol Ferry Prasetya, for your warm and inspiring speech and for officially opening for our event today. And before we proceed to the next part of our program, we would like to take a moment for an official photo session. We kindly ask all distinguished participants to turn on your cameras for the group photo. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. We kindly request the operator to please take the picture. Okay, I repeat it for a second time. We kindly ask all distinguished participants to turn on your cameras for the group photo session. All right, everyone, get ready. 1, 2, 3. Pose. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the next exciting part of our event, the special session with our esteemed guest lecturer. Today's topic is sustainability and ethical consideration in halal tourism development. A timely and insightful theme that we are honored to explore with our distinguished speaker. But before we begin the international seminar, please allow me to introduce the moderator for this session, Mrs. Indri Supriyani. Mrs. Indri Supriyani is a lecturer in the field of Islamic economics at Universitas Brawijaya. Her research interests focus in Islamic finance and the halal industry. One of her recent publications investigates the impact of the digital era on the halal cosmetics industry. Without further ado, we would like to invite Mrs. Indri Supriyani to lead our guest lecture today. For Mrs. Indri Supriyani, the time is yours.
Thank you so much, Akif. Is it my voice clear enough?
Yes,
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a warm welcome from Malang to all of you joining us today. I'm Indri Supriyani, and I will be your moderator for this special session. We are truly delighted to have you with us, whether you are tuning in from campus or from the comfort of your home. Today, we are honored to host a guest lecture on topic that is not only timely, but also deeply relevant to the future of global travel and sustainability and ethical considerations in halal tourism development. And we are very fortunate to be joined live from Oman by our distinguished speaker, Professor Mohamed Battour from Asarkia University. How are you, Professor?
Alhamdulillah, fine, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, I hope you are doing great. And I understand there is a quite time difference between Oman and Indonesia.
Yeah.
Thank you for adjusting your schedule to join us in this afternoon. Okay, dear students, before we dive into today's main session, please allow me to briefly introduce our speaker. Professor Mohamed Battour is a leading figure in the field of halal tourism and Islamic. His research has played a major role in helping scholars, practitioners, and policymakers better understand how tourism, ethics, and religious values intersect. He has published more than 50 article index in Scopus, showing a strong and consistent contribution to academic knowledge. With an index age 20, is it correct, Professor?
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, 20 and more than 2,000 citations, his work has made a real impact, not only in theory, but also in shaping practices and policies across the global Muslim tourism sector. Beyond his research, Professor Battour is also deeply involved in academic publishing. He serves as editor-in-chief for several journals, including the well-respected Journal of Islamic Marketing, published by Emerald. In this role, Professor Battour continues to influence the direction of research in halal tourism, ethical consumer behavior, and sustainable tourism development. Professor Battour, we are truly excited to learn from you today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now before we begin, I would like to invite everyone in here, all the students, to not just listen, but also critically and reflectively throughout today's session. Halal tourism is growing rapidly, but now with that growth comes new questions. And I believe all of us, all the students here, have at least several questions in mind. Maybe at least 3 of them. The first one is, how do we ensure that halal tourism remains true to its ethical roots while also adapting the global trends? And the second one is, what does it truly mean for tourism to be sustainable, especially within the context of Islamic value? And perhaps, most importantly, how can we, as students, researchers, and future practitioners, contribute to shaping a tourism industry that is faithful, fair, and forward-thinking? So please, all the students, my beloved students, I encourage all of you to take notes, asking questions, and keep your minds open. We will have time for discussion at the end of the session, so please don't hesitate to share your thoughts or reflections. So, without further ado, please join me in sending a warm welcome to Professor Mohamed Battour.
Thank you so much.
Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
Most
May I
welcome,
share the,
Professor.
let me share the slide first. Okay. Sorry. Can you see the slide now?
Yeah, but maybe it's better if we have the full screen, Professor.
Oh, yeah, I have 1 minute. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, make it, it is clear now?
Yeah, it is. But I think it's better for us to have the full screen.
Yes, it's full screen. It's not full screen now? No, let me stop sharing. I share again. Sorry.
Okay.
Is it okay now? We're still not sharing.
I
Can you
think it's still in process, Professor.
still in process? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay now? I
Oh,
think still, okay. I think the problem is I have to, because I'm using 2 screens, so I have to, one minute, sorry.
okay, Professor.
I have to make a duplicate slide. Otherwise, yes, okay. It's supposed now to be full screen.
I'm sorry,
It's
Professor?
supposed now to be full screen. Can you, is it okay now? Or still?
Oh, I think it's still in process.
Okay.
But the slide is still not in the full
Still
screen
okay.
mode.
Still not full screen?
I think it's still in process, Professor.
Now mine is full screen now. Is it okay?
In us, it's still loading, Professor.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Let me just
Yeah,
wait.
maybe we need more time. Okay.
Now okay?
Not yet, Professor.
Oh, really? Oh,
Mm.
okay. I think I have to use, because I'm using, let me 1 minute. I need to not disconnect. I just need to switch camera and then I use my laptop because I'm using full screen. Maybe something
Okay.
wrong in there.
If you need,
Just 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay.
okay, take your time, Professor. But if you need
So,
our
1 minute, 1
help,
minute.
okay.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it is in full screen mode, Professor.
Now full mode, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just need to open my camera.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry for because sometimes
No problem, Professor.
it's okay. Is it okay now? Camera okay?
The camera is okay, but the slide is turned off.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Now okay.
Okay.
Now okay, I think right. Everything is right now?
Yeah, Professor. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm so sorry for this.
No problem at all, Professor.
Okay, just need to make sure. Okay. Okay. Bismillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Sorry for this technical issue. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Indri and your boss. I'm so sorry for the delay. And I'm very, very grateful to be with you today. And thank you so much for inviting me to give this guest lecture for your college. First of all, before I proceed, I have to tell a story about Halal tourism. Then we, inshallah, continue. Halal tourism is started with me in 2008 when I visited Korea for a conference. At this time, when I arrived to Korea, I was a PhD student with no subject at all. So once I arrived Seoul, I cannot find halal food. I cannot find Qibla direction. I cannot make prayer. I cannot even find restaurant to eat because they normally eat pork. After I finished my conference, I came back to my university in Malaysia. Then I write my first paper in my life towards halal tourism market. Which I actually as the one of the starting point to me to read and to write a theory about halal tourism. So before I proceed, I need to highlight we have 3 dimensions today. We have three areas we need to integrate: halal tourism and objective of Sharia or what I can call Sharia objectives, مقاصد الشريعة, and sustainability and ethics. So how can we integrate these 3 areas to make or to deliver the objective learning today for your students? So what I can say first, we need to understand first what is halal tourism. Halal tourism, actually, if you look at the activities that you deliver to your tourists, the activity that delivered by operators, you need to these activities must be complying with Islamic teaching. So that means we have to deliver all activities, all tourism experience in line with Islamic teaching. So that means we need to satisfy Muslim tourists. We need to satisfy Muslim tourists with at the same times we need to make sure that we comply with Islamic teaching. So if we need to identify or define halal, of course, the common words that we are using in Islamic world is only halal, but supposed to be halalan tayyiban. That means must be pure and also يعني clear. So this is also sometimes confused between halal or the only and halal and tayyiban. So we need to make sure it is halal and tayyiban. So if we reflect this in halal tourism, as I mentioned, we have 3 key areas of our 3 scope. We need to integrate halal tourism with maqasid al-sharia and sustainable development goals around the world. So how we integrate all this to make sure that we already achieve sustainability or integrate sustainability in halal tourism. This is the main objectives. So how can we do this? Let me go through one by one. Of course, halal tourism, some people, they think halal tourism is only delivering halal food. Halal tourism is beyond, halal tourism is beyond halal food. Because some people, they think, no, it's halal just you deliver halal food for tourists in the destination. Then, okay, that means you apply halal tourism, which is totally wrong. So when we talk about halal tourism, even for non-Muslim country, because sometimes I write many papers, I have written many papers about how can we satisfy Muslim tourists in non-Muslim country, because by default in Muslim country, or majority are Muslims, everything is halal. Everything is halal, but still we need also to apply or to and integrate Islamic teaching in our tourism activities. So the scope is only halal, is not only halal food. The accommodation that you deliver to your tourists, the prayer facilities, non-alcohol or non-activities, non-halal activities, this all must be considered when you deliver your service and product. We need to create value. The main objective of destination is to create value to your tourists. So you have to deliver halal entertainments. Your tour package must be designed to avoid any unprohibited or non-prohibited activities like gambling, nightlife. You have to deliver service for your tourists to make sure all prayer facilities, all the services are compliant with Islamic teaching. So all this, we have another scope, which is or in line with maqasid al-sharia, which is we are Khalifatullah fil ard. So we need to protect our earth. So how can we protect our earth unless we also we need to family-oriented, culture sensitivity, all this we have to take care. So the scope of halal tourism is not only about halal food, because some people, they think we have a lot of activities, many activities, many service provider must work together or close to the tourism operator or destination operator to make sure we apply halal tourism. Okay, so if we are talking about halal tourism, as I mentioned before, we have halal tourism, we have maqasid sharia or religion, and we have sustainability. How can we integrate all this to achieve sustainability and also to develop halal tourism in the way that to protect our Islamic ethics, our Islamic value in the same times? So, of course, we have, in general, we have some principles. We have Islamic teaching. Islamic teaching is the source comes from Quran and Sunnah. So how can we can extract some principles that we can apply in halal or in tourism to make sure we are in the right way to achieve sustainability? This is very important. So number one, of course, one of the principles comes from Islamic teaching is spiritual well-being. So we need to make sure that you are, as a tourist, when you visit Indonesia, as a Muslim country, wherever you go, anyway, any tourism site, you have to deliver some service that to make sure the spiritual well-being and facilities matching the Muslim needs, Muslim practice. So we need to pray, we need to eat halal food. This is even for non-Muslim country. Number two, modesty and privacy. So as a Muslims, especially for Arab region, sometimes when we travel in a family, it might be like in other groups or other, sometimes we need to make sure the privacy is protected. We need to make sure everything, the dress code is not, even in some tourism sites, is not in line with Islamic teaching. So the dress code is very important, even if you are in Muslim country, even if in non-Muslim country. Non-Muslim country now, some restaurants, they recruit Muslim tourists in some restaurants, on some hotels with proper dress code just to satisfy Muslim tourists, even in non-Muslim hotel or non-Muslim country. Why? Because we need to respect. We need to show respect for Muslims, even for non-Muslim countries, Japan, Australia. We need to encourage responsible and respectable travel. So if we need to respect others as a Muslim and non-Muslims, we are all of religion, around the world, we respect. We respect Hindu, respect Christianity. So, but if we show respect to Muslims, this one, of course, will one of the best way to create value for Muslim tourists. So at the same time, we have to involve, we are Khalifatullah of Earth. Comes from Islamic teaching, we need to protect our earth. We need to protect the social. We need to protect our culture. So this one, of course, is reflecting one of our principles from halal tourism is to be the guardianship of the earth. So this one, as I can say, we have halal tourism, we have Islamic teaching, we have some principles. But if you look to this sector, why this sector is very important? Even non-Muslim country now, they are aware and they give a lot of focus on this sector. Why? Because this is a huge market. It is a Muslim population now around the world, almost 2 billion of growing. Which is around 25% of the population around the world. It's almost. And one of the most important issue is the demographic of this population, the purchasing power. The purchasing power is very strong. So as an Indonesian country, when we attract Muslim country to visit Indonesia, it is increasing income to increase GDP. So if you look at this sector, if you look here to the based on master card and concentrated report, which is published in 2024, if you look here, it is expected to Muslim tourists or Muslim travelers expected to spend more than 225 billion, which is a huge purchasing power. So how can, if you are in the halal tourism, how can you attract Muslim tourists to increase your market share? Indonesia now is number one or number two based on the Muslim Travel Index. So we have 3 countries, they are compete to each other. Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey. These 3 countries, they compete. But at the same time, you will shock that there is another non-Muslim country, they try to compete in this market. Japan, South Korea, Spain, Australia, they try to attract Muslim tourists. So how can you attract Muslim tourists unless you satisfy their needs? So this is as all about halal tourism. So if halal tourism is important, how can we apply halal Muslim practices unless we understand what is the maqasid al-sharia? So as I mentioned earlier, we have halal tourism activities, how halal tourism practices. We need to look to maqasid al-sharia. Why? We need to integrate maqasid al-sharia in halal tourism activities, and we integrate maqasid al-sharia with sustainable development goals. All of this to make halal tourism more sustainable. Of course, we have some sustainable teaching, so we need to make it more sustainable. I delivered, I think, in 2022, one speech in Jakarta, which is organized by Central Bank in Nigeria, I think, Bank in Nigeria. How can we make Indonesia more sustainable in halal tourism? So we need to look to maqasid al-sharia. I am sure all of you aware about maqasid al-sharia, but let me look to this in the corner or in the edge of halal tourism. How can we, what we need to do to embed maqasid al-sharia in halal tourism? Of course, we need to save our face. We need to save our life. We need to protect our intellectual, the aql. We need to protect our money, our wealth. We need to protect our lineage, the nasl. All of this. How can we apply all this or integrate maqasid al-sharia in tourism? Halal tourism is a broad or niche market. So how can we integrate this? So if you look to this, of course, as protection of faith or deen, we need to make sure that we facilitate or deliver some activities that to protect my religion when I visit you, Indonesia, Malaysia, Australia. So we have to provide all the needs of Muslim to protect Muslim tourist faith. Not only this, even activities. Don't provide activities in the place or in the hotel or in tourism site that might not be welcome by Muslim tourists. So avoid activities that might be contradict with Islamic value. Okay, how about nafs? In sustainability, of course, we need to ensure safety, the health of travelers. This is one of the sustainable development goals. So we need to make sure everything is safe. So when we are talking about responsible tourism, we are talking about sustainability, which is one in our Islamic objectives. So protect aql or intellectual. So of course, sometimes when I was asked about one question, what do you think? How can we transfer Indonesia as a sustainable or more sustainable destination in tourism? The issue, my answer is very short. You have to educate your tourist. You have to educate your tourist or tourism service provider. Otherwise, it will go against sustainability. That means when we protect our aql, we need to make sure we enrich this experience by education. Avoid any harmful or misleading content that distract or dissatisfied Muslim tourists. How can we protect our money or wealth? This is also one of the maqasid sharia in tourism. So we need to make sure we provide some service in fair price or ethical price. Don't convert the product or service that provided by your destination and take advantage of mal, or what we can call prevent exploitation. So what's the full tourism practice? It must be applied. Number 5, we need, of course, to make sure protect our lineage. So we need to be friendly environment, respect society. We need to encourage dignity or moral conduct. All this one must be integrated to halal tourism. So when we are talking about this, of course, we need to integrate, as I mentioned before, halal tourism, maqasid sharia, coming back to the main objective of our session today. what is the sustainable and the ethical consideration that you must consider when you develop halal tourism. So the main objective learning in this guest lecture, how can we take into consideration sustainable and ethical when we develop halal tourism? If you look back to the definition of sustainable tourism, which is developed by UN and also World Tourism Organization, it is very simple. We need to protect the future generation. We need to deliver value. We need to deliver service to the tourists. But in the same times, we need to make sure that we comply with the 3 pillars of sustainability. We need to protect the society, social sustainability. We need to protect economic sustainability. We need to protect environmental or apply environmental sustainability. I am sure all of you that you are aware about the 3 pillars of sustainability. So in tourism, we need to make sure. This is based on the definition. We need to, of course, deliver value, attract tourists, but at the same time, we need to take into consideration current and future economic and social environmental impact. So this is just a roadmap of principle of, now we have principle of halal tourism. Now we have principle of sustainability. How can we integrate both of them to make sure that we already develop halal tourism and take into consideration the sustainable and ethical principles? So if you look to the principles of halal tourism, it is not very far from principles of sustainable tourism. Later on, we have actually intersection area. We have overlapping here. So we need to use this one. We need to use this one to make our objective to deliver or satisfy Muslim tourism more sustainable. So if you look here to the principle of, it is very simple. So if you look to number 1, of course, we have environmental responsibility. So if you look to halal tourism, how can we apply this to protect environment, to reduce pollution, to reduce footprint or maybe the CO2 emissions? How can we protect the natural? We have to look at this when we apply the policy, when we apply the plan, strategic plan. We need to take into considerations how can we conserve or preserve natural in terms of reduce waste, reduce waste from water, energy. So all this one, we must look to this scope as one of our objectives to make halal tourism more sustainable. Cultural respect, of course, we need, when we promote our authenticity or cultural experience, of course, we need to engage local community to preserve. Respect interaction between host and tourists. So when you host the tourists, you have to respect culture. All of this considered as principles of sustainable tourism. And in the same time, we need to make sure the economic will provide, or halal tourism will provide some jobs, develop some fair distributions or income, sometimes support SMEs that we work in this to providing some service. So all this considered as a principle of sustainable tourism. So how can we integrate this? We have some initiatives actually that we think is very, very important when we look to the halal tourism, when we develop specific steps or some plans, especially for policymakers, especially for some plans you apply, even promotions. You look the ecotourism, that means we protect natural. If we go for responsible, we need to respond responsible will protect the culture. Or community-based tourism, we need to provide some support to the local community to be able to deliver value for tourists. So at the end, what is this? We need to integrate halal tourism, maqasid sharia, and sustainability. If you look here, we have intersection of halal tourism and sustainability. Of course, both of them, sustainability and the halal tourism, they share the same value, sometimes share the same principles. The principle of halal tourism, you look to the first slide, Then the principles of sustainable tourism, of course, both of them, they try to be ethical, try to be responsible, and of course to make the travel enjoy the trip, but at the same time we need to make sure we are Khalifatullah fil ard. That means we need to protect our earth. We need to prioritize the well-being of environment, society, people. And if you look at shared value and principles, we have also shared goals. The sustainability and halal tourism, they are very close to each other in some areas, especially for natural, cultural heritage. Yes, now we have some places we visit as a cultural heritage, Islamic cultural heritage, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, whatever, in Egypt. So we need to protect this. And at the same time, we need to support local community. We need to make sure we achieve economic growth. Ecotourism, even tourism activities must be spiritual, social, environmental ethics. So we have some ethics we need to apply to be in line with sustainability. Halal tourism, I can say, as a model of faith-based sustainability. Together, faith represent Islamic teaching, sustainability represent SDGs. So it's the Sustainable Development Goals together. If we combine both in the blender, it will give us faith-based sustainability. So that means we have intersection now. So offer value for the customers, offer value for tourists. That, and at the same time, you need to protect the environment, provide some economic value. We have to provide some social protection. So all this one will be in the same line or the same line. So bridging the religious value with global sustainability, that means you have standards. And this is the challenge. How can we develop standards to make sure that our halal tourism practices it is in line with sustainability? This is a challenge. This one later on I talk. A challenge. So how we need to, if we need to say, Indonesia, are you a halal tourism destination? Yes. How about sustainability? Are you in line or not? This is, I have a question you have to answer. This is a question you have to answer. That means if we develop standards that to make sure, yes, concentrating, they actually rating the country to be halal, Muslim friendly tourism destination or not. The rating from 1 to 10. How about sustainability? Yes, this is no standards. So we need to combine both standards for sustainability in halal tourism to be clear what is the global sustainability standards applied in halal tourism. This is the challenge. Okay, so if you look here, this is my question. Why we need to embed or integrate? Why we need to integrate sustainability in halal tourism? Halal tourism is not only about complying to Islamic teaching. No, it is more than this. It is more than this. We have maqasid al-sharia. One of them is to protect, for example, our aql, protect our earth, protect our, all this one must be applied. So if I answer this question, why sustainability and ethics matters are important to halal tourism? Why? Why? Because this comes from our religion, our Islamic teaching. This is our maqasid al-sharia. So we need to integrate sustainability in halal tourism development. Number one, environmental impact. Yes, we need to save water, we need to save land, we need to reduce pollution, we have to be ecosystem and wildlife, all this one, not disruption. So environmental impact is very important. Social impact, yes, we are living in our earth, so we need to make sure there is no rising cost of living, the culture commodification and identity not lost. We need to make sure there is fair wage or fair income. So this course, one of our objectives. And culture is very important because, as I mentioned earlier, one of the principles of halal tourism is to comply with culture sensitivity. Culture sensitivity means when I travel non-Muslim country, I need to protect my family. They not to be exposure to non-halal ethics, or some maybe practice is not in line with halal. My daughter, my wife, all this one, cultural impact. So we need to make sure to protect our traditions, our religious value. We respect our destination. This is why we need to integrate. Why we need to integrate sustainability in halal tourism. Another question: why ethical and sustainability are critical in halal tourism? Because halal tourism is not just about compliance to Islamic teaching. It is more than this. It is go beyond this. We need to promoting ethical, respectful, sustainable travel experience. So where we are now, is it in the current situation now, based on my experience, still we need to move further. We're still on applying or trying to applying halal tourism principles. How about sustainability? I will show you a slide at the end. You will shock. One paper published from Indonesia in Journal of Islamic Marketing, which comes with results. All the rating done by Crescent Rating, most of the country that they claim they are Muslim-friendly tourism, they are not sustainable, which is contradictory with our objectives. We need to move. We need to move means we need to apply, integrate sustainability in halal tourism. So how can we do this? It is very simple. This is my answer. We need to align Islamic value, Islamic ethic value in our practice. If you look to Islamic teaching, we have many Islamic teaching from Quran, from Sunnah. We need to align our halal tourism practice with Islamic value. Number one, let's say balance. One of sustainability is to make sure there is no over capacity in some places. We need to protect resources. We need to reduce consumptions. We need to encourage harmony between halal tourism growth and environmental preservation. Is it achieved? Is it achievable now? I don't think so. Still, we need to spend more efforts from industry players, from tourism destination operators. We need to look to how can we develop policy to integrate sustainability in halal tourism. One of our Islamic teaching, we have rahmah or compassion. Rahmah means, of course, we all as a Muslim, we need to be kind. We need to empathy toward other people, animals, even environment. So how can we apply some practices, best practices in halal tourism to make sure minimize any harm to all living or all human beings? This is also one. Third one, Khalifa. We are Khalifatullah fil ard. Allah sent us to earth to protect this earth, to make sure preserve integrity. We need to make sure sustainable tourism or sustainable halal tourism are responsible. They reserve or conserving cultural heritage. In Egypt nowadays, we have some cultural heritage. The government take decision to remove Islamic cultural heritage. Why? Because we need to make modern city. We need to make modern or society. This one is called against our Islamic teaching. So that means still we are in early stage to apply or to integrate Islamic teaching in halal tourism practice. Number 4, ihsan. Ihsan means all of us, we sometimes practice ihsan. If you find someone, poor people in the way, sometimes you give some donation to him. So how about Islamic teaching or ihsan in halal tourism? We have ethical or standards must be developed, must be applied in halal tourism side. We have to make sure we are continuous improve the standards. We need to apply some standards, especially for Muslim-friendly hotels, especially for some country. So all this must be applied. Integrate in your policy, integrate in your strategic plan. integrate in your promotion, even promotion, marketing, promotion tools. When you, let's say, Indonesia, we have to show this. And not only showing, we need also to apply. So observe, act, that observe the weaknesses and act. You have to link and apply all this. Last one, amana. Amana, all of us, of course, as a Muslims, we need to be have trust. Trust means, okay, some destination, they claim they are sustainable in some promotion tools. But if you look in reality, they are not. They are not. Some of them, they also claim they are Muslim friendly, but in reality, they are not. So you have to embed amana and trust with your plan. Amana between the operator and tourists, the host and the guest. The guest and the host relationship must be trusted. You have to preserve destination, respect local norm. All this one must be embedded. How about ethical? Why we need to apply ethical practice in halal tourism? Yes, we have some ethical values from Islamic teaching. Ethical marketing, for example, as I mentioned just now. Okay, you have to highlight, have to highlight transparency. What is the source of halal certifications? What is it credible or not? Especially for restaurant. The supply chain, not only, we need halal. Yes, we get halal certificate. But how about tayyiban? Halal and tayyiban? Supply chain sometimes come from non-Muslim. So all this must be ethical. Avoid tokenism or cultural or religious stereotyping. Let's say as a Muslim visiting non-Muslim country, nowadays I'm developing a new scale. It's called Muslim-friendly tourism experience. One of the dimensions is about what? About Islamophobia, discrimination. All this one must be taken into consideration. Tourist and host responsibility, yes. As a tourist, you must respect normal or local culture. When I visit Indonesia, of course, you have your own food, you have your own traditions, you have your own lifestyles. I come from Middle East. So when I visit Indonesia, yes, I spent 13 years in Malaysia. I like nasi goreng, I like sometimes tandoori, even sometimes titare. I have some dishes, yes, nasi liam, all this. Why? Because I'm spending 13. So you have to, when I visit Indonesia, I have to respect the local culture as a host. And at the same time, as a Muslim, I come from Arab. I expect that you also provide some, and this maybe Arab dishes. You have to provide some service based on the guest culture. So we have relationship here, responsibility between host and guest. All this one must be combined together with understanding, mutual understanding, dignity, shared accountability. All of this will help us to develop standards or sustainable standard. Must link it to halal tourism principles. So collaboration. How can we develop these standards? The key players, okay, stakeholders must work together. Together, they have to develop this. The government alone cannot work alone to develop these standards. The industry players, like the travel agents, maybe the service provider, local community, all this must work together. Why? Because sustainability needs shared responsibility. All of us must be responsible, accountable. We must apply all this. So we need to align all these efforts across all the stakeholders. Otherwise, we will not be successful to develop standards, sustainability standards in halal tourism. So it's challenging. One of the main challenging, I know, as I mentioned, Dr. Andres, he said only 1 hour. I try my best to manage my time. We don't have many slides. Okay, can I just need to increase my 1 minute? Sorry, I just need to, it's hot. Now is the degree is almost 45. So,
Professor.
open my aircon. Okay. So what is the challenging of in tourism, sustainable halal tourism? One of the most challenging is to be fair. You have to be transparent with your guests. Some destination they share halal label. They have that they claim they have credible source, but in reality, no. If you look beyond this, you'll find maybe one office in Australia is very small. There is many stamps for halal food or halal meat. So that means we have to make sure we don't practice greenwashing. Greenwashing means that we are claim that we are halal, but in reality, no. So we're misleading the Muslim tourists. We break the trust. We break the trust. We damage tourist satisfactions. Our main objective in halal tourism is to create loyalty. Of course, we will satisfy you, but at the same time, if I visit Indonesia, the rule of government or service provider is to make me happy to repeat again the visit to Indonesia. So this one very risk if you greenwashing. Second, we don't commodify Islamic value. We sell religion. We sell religion to make profit. No. If you need, of course, there is no any restriction on this. You can sell halal food, but at the same time, you have to make sure that you are already halal. One of the challenge, lack of standardizations. We have millions nowadays of halal food certificate. How about halal tourism? Halal tourism destination? Halal hotel? Muslim-friendly hotels? No. Until now, until today, there is no any official body give agreement or what you can call clear standards. In Malaysia, they developed, of course, Muslim-friendly from by Jakim in 2019, or I'm not mistaken, 2012, if I'm not mistaken, but still in early stage. Still, we have some confusion between halal tourism, Muslim-friendly tourism, Islamic tourism, so many terminology. So we need to standardize all this. Why? Because if we need to integrate sustainability, we need first to agree about our principles, halal tourism or Muslim-friendly tourism. Then we integrate both of them. This one also challenging. Another issue is transparency. As I mentioned, sometimes we have many rating, but we don't have where this rating comes. Maybe only one I know, of course, currency rating, but we have some other in Turkey, some other in Indonesia. This one is considered. How about the opportunities? Of course, we have now, as I mentioned, if we need to make sure, let's say, halal tourism in Indonesia is more sustainable. As I mentioned before, government must play a role. Private sector must adapt halal practice. Scholars must provide some policy initiatives, and we need to observe and respond based on some policy. One of the main advantage nowadays that we can use to develop sustainable halal tourism, of course, digital innovations. Now we have many applications, we have many even certification. Now we can make it a digital application for halal tourism. This one opportunity. We need to think about how can we use all this to integrate sustainability with halal tourism. How to measure this? We measure something if it's clear, but we don't have standards. If I need to make KPI or key performance indicator for Indonesia, either they apply sustainability in halal tourism or not, I need to say this. How about environment impact? Did you try to waste reductions? Did you try to resource or protect resources? Community benefit. Halal tourism, of course, will increase income for local community. Is it increased or not? I'm not sure. So we have to think about this. Culture, did you preserve culture? I don't know. We have to think about this. This all KPI. Travel satisfaction, yes, you have to either he's satisfied about ethical or activity that he maybe might exposure when he visit Indonesia, Malaysia or not. Halal compliance, certification, clear standard, all this might be used as a KPIs. We have Indonesian Muslim Travel Index, which is developed by concentrating in 2018. We have a report about Indonesia, one of the best place. I visited Indonesia 3 times or 4 times, sorry, 4 times. Bilatong Island. I'm not sure my pronunciation is right or not. Bilatong.
I think
sure.
Belitung, Professor.
Yes, Bilatong. This one, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry about pronunciation.
No worries, Professor.
Bali. This actually the natural and the view very, very nice. One of the best destination for Arab. They enjoy the natural. So if it's a natural, one of the sustainable pillars. Economic, you can attract many tourists comes to Indonesia, increase GDP, increase income, increase even job creations for local. All this one sustainability. So Indonesia, as a best practice, you need to go beyond. You have to link or to apply. What you can say, we have to link between sustainability and halal tourism. So this is a study that shocked me. It is published already in 2021. Rahma, actually from Indonesia, come of this study that they try to see the relationship between global Muslim travel index and sustainability. Actually, with the GMTI high score, lower sustainability. That means Indonesia, Malaysia, Turkey, yes, we have some issue about this. This is what must be answer my questions. We need to integrate the halal tourism practice with sustainable development goal. All this in the middle, we have maqasid al-sharia. If we integrate maqasid al-sharia with sustainability and the halal tourism practice, of course, we will develop right halal tourism growth. We grow halal tourism in the right way. So this is just quotations in my slide because I understand from Dr. Indri, only 1 hour, so I try to manage my time. Of course, we need to protect environment, increase economic growth, protect culture. This one, of course, that means environment is where we all meet, where we all have a mutual interest. It is the one thing is all of us share. So this is the way. Last slide. There's some hot topics we, of course, by Islamic marketing. I'm always sharing my LinkedIn. I am sure all of you maybe might be undergraduate students, but inshallah, you are welcome to write conceptual paper in master degree or PhD levels. I share some hot topics that we welcome, like ethical consumption, sustainability, ethical Islamic business, green halal tourism, Islamic CSR, corporate social responsibility, AI and the ethics also. And that's all from my side, Dr. Indri. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoy my slide. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Thank you so much, bro.
MashaAllah, Professor. MashaAllah, Professor. Thank you so much, Professor Battour, for such a insightful and also thought-provoking presentation. Your perspective on how tourism, ethics, sustainability have provided us with valuable insights and have deepened our understanding of these interconnected topics. And the way you articulated the link between ethical principles and sustainable tourism practices was particularly enlightening. And from your presentation, we gained a clearer understanding that many countries recognized as Muslim-friendly travel destinations are in fact still in the process,
Yes.
trying to apply ethical practices and values that genuinely support sustainability, particularly in terms of environmental preservation, social responsibility, and cultural integrity.
Okay.
Professor, in our class, we also discuss several papers, Professor. One of them is discussed about halal food, exported by Indonesia, and which I think closely aligned with your presentation, the topics that you give to us. One case we encountered that one of the paper published by, I forgot, I'm sorry, published by Emerald, but I forgot the name of the journal. The paper stated that halal food from Indonesia, it's a chicken that being export to Australia, it's being rejected. It's halal chicken, but it's rejected by Australian trade because the halal certification, Indonesian halal certification, does not meet the sustainability or the standard applied by Australia, which I think this paper show us that by having halal certification is not enough and does not necessarily guarantee that a product means Tayyip standard, as you mentioned, Professor, meaning a pure, wholesome, and ethical sound that not only aligned with Muslim but also broader sustainability values that embraced by both Muslim and non-Muslim communities. So it's a fun fact that I just know that Muslim that indicated as the higher Muslim travel friendly by concentrating is not applied to the sustainable perspective. So your presentation has helped us to contextualize such a real world cases, Professor, within the broader ethical and sustainability framework of halal tourism and lifestyle. So students, all the students, I believe many of our students are eager to ask questions and engage further. So we would like now to open the floor for discussion. This is a valuable insight and opportunity to interact directly with an expert in the field. So please feel free to raise your hand or share your question in the Zoom chat, and I will read it on your behalf. Is there any question, students? And also we have the opportunity, Professor Battour explain or tell us about the opportunity to publish in JIMA journal, which I think is one of the most credible and reputable journal. Me myself tried to submit in the journal, and I think I don't know how many times I get rejected by the journal, but finally in this year 2025 I have one article published by JIMA.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, inshallah.
Yeah,
We'll come soon, inshallah. I can see here some one question in the comment.
Yeah.
Let me try to read because it's very far from me.
Okay,
How can a sustainable you read or I read? Okay.
Maybe
How
I can help you.
sustainability framework within halal tourism be constructed to not only adhere to Islamic ethical principles but also challenging entrenching social political structure and economic system in region where these principles are marginalized while ensuring both environmental and economic sustainability of the tourism industry in the long run. This is question number one. Okay.
Okay, it's such a long question, Professor.
It's a long question, and also I just touch very fast because I cannot get very fully what thing. Okay, anyway, my view about this is not related to the politicals rather than the practice. I'm not sure about Indonesia or Malaysia or Middle East Southeast, but in general, some countries they try to apply all these principles, even if non-Muslim halal tourism. So the conventional or the traditional tourism, they try to do this. But the issue is that we need to attract Muslim tourists. We have some activity. I'll give you an example. Let's say you claim that you Muslim-friendly hotel. Okay? So if you need to claim that a Muslim-friendly hotel, is it related to political or whatever? The private sector, even government. So what is the initiatives? Are the initiatives they have taken to make sure they reduce, let's say, reduce waste for water? How they reduce electricity consumptions? How they be green in terms of practice? This actually, if I ask anyone, okay, if you're not sustainable, it doesn't matter you are Muslim friendly or not. It doesn't matter. This must be applied for both. But we have some other principle or some ethical which is very close to our Islamic teaching. This is the issue. How can we make it sustainable? Let's say, yes, we are talking about alcohol or maybe nightclubs. Yes, you are sustainable, but are not halal tayyiban. What is the issue now? So the issue is how can we integrate our activity or practice in line with sustainability? Question number 2 is also very long.
Okay. I can help you too.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay. The second question from Widodo is, considering the global commercialization of halal tourism, how can a universally applicable model be developed that preserve the authenticity of Islamic ethical standards while simultaneously navigating the inherent contradiction between market-driven profit motives and environmental and social responsibility principles central to sustainable halal tourism?
Yes, this is also challenge. I already answered this question. We have some challenges. We have to try to find solutions. When we are talking about learning organization theory, for example, we are learning. So we need to learn how can we solve this challenging. We need to adapt and change. So the starting point is the cycle. It looks like loop. So let's say we learn first with some mistakes. We learn from mistakes. Is it sustainable or not? So we need to see the market driven. We need to make profit. Yes, we are making profit. Yes, but how is about sustainability? You have to find solutions to make sure you maintain your profit, but at the same time, you need to solve the problem related to sustainability. This is the issue. We have many challenges actually, but where we are now, we need to find the current situation, what is the desired situation, and fill the gap. To fill the gap, that means you make profit, make everything is halal, but at the same time, you need to make sure you achieve the sustainable development goals. This is a challenge, and this is actually continuous. Okay. We have another question, I think.
I think someone raised his hand. Fazil?
Yes.
Thank you, Professor, for your response. Fazil, okay. Fazil, can you unmute your microphone and directly ask the question?
Okay. Thank you, Bu Indri, for the opportunity. It is a great honor for us to have received insightful presentation from Professor Battour. Now I would like to ask about previously I have read a scientific article entitled Constructing Sustainable Halal Tourism Composite Performance Index for the Global Halal Tourism Industry by Sulong et al. Yeah, published in the Asia Pacific Journal of Tourism Research. Now,
Okay, very good
the
journal.
study
Yes.
highlight that non-Muslim majority countries such as United States, Canada, Singapore, and Japan often perform better in environmental and social sustainability index compared to Muslim majority countries. So why do you think this is happen? So why non-Muslim majority countries perform better, especially in environmental and ethical practices especially in halal tourism than Muslim majority countries? And how can OIC countries or Muslim majority countries improve their sustainability, their ethical values, especially in halal tourism sector? Maybe this is from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It is very good questions. And yes, I know the study that you are talking about. Yeah, that's familiar for me. And we have another very close study. Just now I show the results. That is for those who claim they are very Muslim or Muslim friendly destinations, they are not sustainable. They are not sustainable. And at the same times, non-majority Muslims, they are very taking good positions in the sustainable index. So why? We have ethics and we have Islamic teaching. We have maqasid al-sharia. So the issue is related to so many factors. So many factors. Number one, the practice. Are all of us practice Islam or not? This is the issue. Are we practicing Islam right on the way? Actually, based on some study, 60%, 20% are non-practicing Islam at all. They go for adultery, they go for prostitution, they do blah blah, they drink alcohol. I cannot say is the exact number, but this is based on some roughly figures. 20% are very extremely practicing Islam. They are very tough. They are very what I can call very strict. 60% is what I can call the majority. What I can say, majority, they are practicing Islam, but not very extremely or maybe living at all. So the issue here now, the first question, yes, we are practicing Islam, especially for majority Muslim, but the issue is awareness. The awareness. The government rule must educate and create awareness about sustainability. Yes, we are practicing Islam. We are doing well in Muslim-friendly or halal-friendly tourism. But this one might be to satisfy visitors, might be satisfy inbound or outbound tourists. But the issue, what we are doing as a Muslims, this is the factor number one. The issue is related to practicing Islam. Some of us, they are not aware about its sustainability. Second factor is government, or what you can call the income. We have some rich countries in Muslim majority, but they spend this money for some other sectors, or they think investment in sustainability will not get high return. This, for example, but this one, of course, wrong. Sometimes, if you, let's say, invest on renewable energy, this one is sustainable, right? But the cost is very high. The cost is very high for non-majority Muslim. They have the wealth. So sometimes this one also another factors. So if you look to all this, but the main factor for those who claim that they are majority Muslim, they are not sustainable because of many. We are not have a good awareness about sustainability. We don't have the knowledge enough to invest on sustainability. The third one, which is also very important, is economic growth. Sometimes we have a specific plan. We have priority. We have priority. So some Muslim countries, they focus more in the priority based on the strategic plan or the economic growth. So you will ask me first, give me food. I need to find food first before you ask me to switch light or to save water. So I have priority. You have to create jobs first. You have to create. Then if you have, I think you have Maslow hierarchy in your study. We have to have hierarchy. Maslow hierarchy said we have basic needs first. Don't ask people to protect the environment unless they have enough food. They have enough income. This is also challenging in some government. They have priority. So this is my answer. So have some factors that they, of course, non-majority Muslim are sustainable more than Muslims majority country. This is also challenging. Okay. Thank you. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Fazil, right? Fazil. Okay. Is right? Is my pronunciation right?
Yeah, Fazil.
Fazil. Okay. Thank you so much
Okay.
for your question.
Thank you so much, Professor Battour and Fazil, for your question. And we move to Agung. Muhammad Agung 3 also asking a question through chat.
Chatting, yeah?
Yeah. He's saying that he asked that, does the comprehensive implementation of halal tourism potentially restrict certain personal freedoms commonly upheld by Western tourists, such as traveling with an unmarried partner and sharing hotel accommodations? Considering that many foreign tourists visiting Indonesia are primarily attracted to destinations like Bali, where nightlife activities such as parties at venues like Atlas Beach Club area a major draw, could a restrict application of halal tourism norms inadvertently deter this segment of travelers by limiting the experience they seek? Is the question clear enough, Professor?
I need to certain personal freedom commonly applied by Western tourists, such as traveling with unmarried, okay?
Yeah.
And sharing a hotel accommodation, okay? So the question is, I'm not clear with this question. You mean
the
there
question
are some...
is Islamic principle in halal tourism will, make the tourists will withdraw or not really interest to come to Indonesia because of the
if I'm not
principle.
mistaken, if I'm mistaken, that means some country, I can say majority of country, even my country in Egypt, of course we receive Western tourists. Western tourists, as you know, they have some their value, they have some which is in line or against Islamic teaching. So for secular systems, we cannot say don't come to us and practice some activity against Islamic teaching. For secular systems, of course, they need to sometimes make sure they both of them in running in the same times. That means you are free. If you come to halal tourism, you are welcome. If you come to some street, sometimes they practice some non-Islamic activities, you are welcome. So the issue here is very sensitive, very sensitive. Like Turkey, for example. Turkey, sometimes they have both. I'm not sure about Indonesia. Of course, I visit very nice place in Indonesia, so I don't. What you are talking about Indonesia, I don't exposure, but it might be found. I'm not sure. But in Turkey, yes, in Turkey, even Malaysia, I know. Bukit Bintang Street in Kuala Lumpur, and you have yes, we have some Arab is even some nightclubs or something else.
Yeah.
So the issue is challenging. The question is, I will not answer. The question is you trust Allah to give you halalan tayyiban income? If you trust Allah and make sure you need halalan tayyiban rizq, that means you have to follow what Allah obligate to do. Islamic teaching said there is no prostitutions must be practiced. So the issue, you have to try to close the loop, to close the door. So it is challenging, but the answer to this question is very tough. It is challenging for government even also. How can we run halal tourism and at the same time we run non-halal tourism? It's challenging. You have to answer. If you are trust Allah that if you need halal and tayyiban rizq, that means you have to follow Islamic teaching. This is the answer. Nobody will go beyond this. For me, I need halal and tayyiban. Sometimes some Muslims, as I mentioned, they don't practice Islam. They don't practice Islam. They are Muslim by title only.
Yeah.
They are Muslim by title only. So this is their choice. But my choice, I need to practice. So the answer to this question is very challenging. Okay. Considering that many foreign tourists visiting Indonesia are primarily attracted to, the same question, right?
I'm sorry, Professor. I think Jundi raised his hand. Jundi, are you here?
Yes, go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Jundi, can you unmute your microphone? Jundi Rabbani? Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your insightful presentation and thoughtful explanation. My name is Mohamed Battour from Universitas Brawijaya, and I would like to ask a question regarding the strategic direction of halal tourism development.
Okay.
In your view, what would be the most appropriate strategy to ensure that halal tourism village genuinely uphold the principle of social inclusiveness,
Okay.
environmental conservation, and economic sustainability, particularly considering the current tendency toward top-down approach and the dominant influence of rating institutions such as Crescent Rating, which often frame halal tourism within a traditional mass tourism model.
Okay. I think even also if I'm not mistaken, يعني regarding your questions, you ask how can we ensure halal tourism villages, يعني apply principle of halal tourism. The issue is related to the pillars. If you are talking about environment, you're talking about economic, you're talking about social, you have to integrate all these pillars in activities run or conducted in the village. So if you are talking about, let's say, for example, social or let's say social practice, you have to, or income. So you have to make sure that all this practice must be in line with global standards. So let's say economic sustainability or in community engagements. Let's say you have local employees. So how can you create some jobs in halal tourism that integrate or to apply community or economic? This is also, that means you integrate economic in the halal tourism framework. Not only this, sometimes ethical consumption, sometimes you conduct some maybe fair or something like even also trade, maybe sometimes handmade. All this one local culture might be get benefits to integrate all this one in halal tourism framework. Of course, we are talking about in standards, infrastructures, all this must be in line with halal tourism framework. So, and are talking about environment, the capacity. So if you are talking about ethical tourism or Islamic ethical tourism, that means you make sure the capacity or is not over capacity. You need also to, for education, for example, maybe you have to educate the local stakeholders, provide some training about Islamic ethical tourism or environmental management. All this one will be support the village to be halal tourism or to integrate halal tourism or integrate sustainability in halal tourism. There are many actually strategies to make sure this one applied based on the framework. This is my answer. And it's very simple. That need to make sure integrate environmental or social or economic in the halal tourism in this village. If they, of course, they have some activities. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. We also have one question from Jihan Lutfia Chandra. Jihan, can you please unmute your microphone?
Jihan.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Indi. First of all, thank you, Prof. Battour, for the impressive presentation. My name is Januvia Chandra from Brawijaya University. As the Prof said before, Indonesia has many beautiful locations and has society with Muslim majority of 87%, which is very possible to increase halal tourism.
Yes.
But following up with my friend's question, that society chooses to provide demand from Western society rather than increasing the opportunity for the halal industry in Indonesia.
Yes.
This Prof view on this case, And with that trip that is already famous today, does Indonesia still have a good chance to become a country halal tourism? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jihan. Jihan is actually Arab name. So thank you so much for your questions. Okay. This is also coming back to the question comes from your colleague. It is challenging. So yes, Indonesia, one of the promising country that they actually located or maybe position itself and differentiate itself as a very good destinations for Muslims. Especially all requirements, I can say all requirements to apply fully halal tourism framework is available in Indonesia. Natural, very good. Low cost, very good. Nice, friendly people, very good. All, I can say all. But why? Why most of the Indonesians, they prefer to get income or satisfy non-Muslim or Western tourists? The answer, as I mentioned before, it is based on the approach. If I ask you, as a Muslims, I can ask two persons, and I know many friends about this. Do you prefer to work in Islamic bank or traditional bank? Traditional bank offer $5,000 per month, okay? And Islamic bank will offer you $3,000 per month. That means the salary comes from Islamic bank, 3,000 less than 5,000 come from traditional bank. Okay, the answer, it depends on the person practice of Islam. Okay, for my friend, I know many students, many in Egypt, especially in Egypt. They send me in private message in my Facebook. Okay, brother, or I trust you. I'm working now in traditional bank, but I feel this is haram because they have riba, they have. I have to take decision. It is challenging for me. Please give me motivation to take my decisions. My salary is very high. So the answer is very simple. You are, as a Muslims, need to make sure you get income from halal and tayyiban source. Okay. If you go for government, the answer is very difficult. In individual, yes, based on your value, based on your Islamic value. Okay, I have many students, they said, okay, brother, doctor, I trust you, I will follow you. I will leave traditional bank and I move to Islamic bank. Or I find halal and tayyiban source. After 1 year, 6 months, come back to me. He said, thank you so much for your advice. I now am very satisfied. I respect myself. I feel barakah in my life. So this one in individual answer. How about if the government be conscious about this to make sure all citizens, they get halal and tayyiban income? Yes, it is against our rules, but if you look to the traditional point, if you are sick, if you're looking for your opinion, you will go over famous doctor or regular doctor. Sometimes because you are sick, you are taking care about health, you will go for very famous doctor. So how about religion? Why you don't go to scholars, Islamic scholars, they give you opinion. So the challenging here is what is the approach of the government? Government sometimes they need to make sure the source of Western style is still sustainable, continuous source. So you cannot stop directly this tourism. I'm sure Turkey doing this. They gradually try to apply Islamic teaching. We spent 13 years in Prophet Muhammad, and then until they protect alcohol. It's not suddenly protect alcohol. They spent 13 years in Mecca until they prohibited alcohol. So the answer is very difficult, but of course, this one based on the practice of Islam. Okay, the challenge is to maintain halal source in government. Okay, Indonesia is very promising to invest in this sector, but sometimes you cannot say for the government, please stop suddenly this. You cannot do this. If the halal tourism is gradually increased, and now I'm sure Indonesia #1 now, and I'm sure they doing very well on this, but it takes time. It takes time until you say, we apply full halal tourism framework. Thank you so much, Jihan, for the questions.
Okay, Professor, thank you so much. The question from Jihan is also related with one question from Muhammad Zulfikar Iqmal. Iqmal, thank you so much, Professor, for your insightful presentation. And I would like to ask how to make Muslim society aware, both travel owners and tourists, of the importance of halal tourism in the current era and the future. And can technology do that or helps to increase the awareness? Because in Indonesia, even though the Muslim community is more than half, but in fact, that the awareness is still low.
Okay, this is a good point. These good questions. We have many tools to change the behavior, even in marketing. Actually, my background is marketing. So marketing rules, sometimes you need to conduct research. Conduct research means the starting point is to conduct research and answer these questions. How can we change the consumer behavior and awareness in Indonesia about halal tourism? Nobody can answer this simply. But if we conduct research, why we need to conduct research? Even in general in marketing, we conduct research to formulate marketing strategies that affect or changing the consumer behavior or tourist behavior. So the issue now, if I suggest based on the research, we have to create awareness program in social media, using artificial intelligence program, or using sometimes digital media, using sometimes push email or push SMS, sometimes use public relations, conducting some interview or talk show. We can use sometimes content post or content marketing. This one also could be used as a tourism operator. They have to maybe design some press release, some content, sometimes viral. You have to come creative idea to viral this to educate your. The issue is how can you educate your tourists, educate your customers? This is the main role of government, the tourist suppliers, even tourists itself sometimes need to. So we have many tools actually you can use as to increase awareness about halal tourism. But before this, you have to write a plan. I have to put objective and try to, of course, tracking how many milestones achieved during the conduct or put the plan into actions. You have to revise sometimes your strategy, your tactics to make sure your marketing campaign achieve the objectives. All this must be done in integrated marketing communications tools, either digital marketing or whatever. I think social media now is very simple to use. So awareness is objectives. That means you have to design some tools to create awareness among Muslims about all these issues.
Thank you so much, Professor. I think now we have one more question, Professor, which will be the last question for this session. Adela Emmanuel Wijaya Sakti. Okay.
Adela, yes.
You can directly ask the question.
Yes, thank you so much about the insightful and also support material from user. And I'm Emmanuel Sakti, would like to inquire questions about Islamic tourism. So the question is, can Islamic tourism can be inclusive of spiritual journeys outside Mecca and Medina, such as historical Islamic tours in Spain, Morocco, or Central Asia? And how can religious significance be preserved respectfully?
Okay, if I can get your point Well, your question is about how can we use halal, or sorry, Muslim heritage in Mecca and Medina and preserve sustainability at the same times. Can you please explain for me in brief, you understand the questions?
Yeah.
I just need
Emmanuel?
to just clarify more questions because I missed some points in your questions.
Emmanuel, would you like to elaborate?
Elaborate more, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so there is both the Islamic tourism in Turkey too, like Hagia
Yes.
Sophia. And what is the difference about going to Mecca and Medina, then going to
Okay, I got your point.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. I got your point. Okay, thank you so much. The answer is very simple. What is your intention? What is your intention? Allah said, سيروا في الأرض. Allah give us obligation to observe the Creator. So if my intention to go for some Islamic heritage to see the Creator, to see Allah creations, that means I will get reward. I will get reward from my journey. Allah obligate us or order us to travel. This is by default. سيروا في الأرض. سيروا في الأرض means travel. Travel means this is just your intention is what? Intention to say Allah Creator, Allah amazing space. To remember what Allah previous Muslims done, like in Turkey, what they have done. This is intention. Of course, we can go to Mecca and Medina, we do Hajj, right? We have intention to get reward from Allah, right? But I don't think so. If you go for travel for intention of get reward, yes, this is pilgrim. Pilgrim means Hajj or Umrah is obligation for us. But travel to see Allah is optional, right? So optional means we can go to enjoy your time, and also in same times your intention to be compliant to Islamic teaching. But what is the other direction? If there is no intention, just to go for enjoy your eyes, there is no reward. Everything in our life as a Muslims, you have to motivate or not motivate, create intention before you do anything in your life. What is your intention to graduate to take bachelor or degree? What is your intention to graduate from MBA? What is your intention to get PhD? Yes, you have internal or personal objectives. But at the same time, when you create your personal objectives, don't forget that you need to increase the ummah or contribute to the ummah, contribute to your brotherhood. This is intention. You will get reward. We have two intention objectives. Some get profit only to eat, but I get profit to I need to make myself rich to spend money for poor people, to support Muslims. So we have intention. So it's based on your intention. Yes, you can go, you can travel. This is Allah. The Islamic teaching and maqasid al-Sharia, if you look to maqasid al-Sharia, it is open doors for us. Open doors, not closed doors, open doors for us. You can go, enjoy your time, but be careful. Don't go for something make you some against Islamic teaching, and then sometimes you need to get rewards. This is my answer for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adila. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor, and thank you, Adela Emmanuel, for your question. So I think we have addressed all the questions, Professor.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much to all of you, to I think more than 5 participants that delivered the questions, and what a practical and also insightful questions. And thanks again, Professor Battour, for the generous insight and engaging discussion. And maybe there is a closing statement from you, Professor, before I give the summary and also the brief from your presentation.
Okay. My last words for all of you, yani, I need to express my gratitude to Dr. Indri and your students. I really enjoyed the session today, and alhamdulillah, yani, hopefully you also enjoy the sessions. And I am very yani, grateful that about the question that raised by your students. And inshallah, it might be repeated in the future, bismillah, and I plan to visit Indonesia in summer if I can. So it might be face to face, inshallah. And also, I encourage all the students if they have conceptual paper or something. Yeah, if quality is high, of course, I try to, inshallah, push them, inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. That brings us to the end of today's guest lecture. On behalf of all of the participants here in Malang, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Professor Mohamed Battour for joining us and sharing his time, knowledge, and expertise. And to briefly summarize today's session, I kind of make 3 notes in here. First, we explore how halal tourism is evolving, balancing faith-based principle with global trend and sustainability. And Professor Battour also emphasized the importance of ethical considerations, not just as guidelines, but also as core drivers for responsible tourism development. And the third one, we discuss of how sustainability, in tourism must integrate social, environmental, and religious values harmoniously. And the last point is finally, through your question and Professor Battour's responses, we touch on practical challenges and the critical role that future professionals like yourself will play in shaping in the industry, halal industry. Thank you so much, Professor. Your insight have inspired us to think beyond tourism as just an academic activity, seeing it a space where ethics, faith, and sustainability meet. We also thank to all of you, the students, for your engagement, curiosity, and thoughtful participation throughout the session. We hope this lecture has sparked new ideas and motivation for your future research and professional journeys. Until we meet again, stay curious, stay critical, and stay committed to meaningful changes. Thank you, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
And at this point, I will hand the session back to our Master of Ceremony, Akif. Thank you again for your participation and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Akif, could you close the session, please?
Okay, thank you so much to Miss Indri Supriyani for expertly leading to the guest lecture session. And we would also like to express our deepest gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Professor Mohamed Battour from Asharqiyah University, Oman, for sharing his valuable insight and comprehensive knowledge with us today. Your contribution has really enriched our understanding of sustainability and ethical consideration in halal tourism development. And I also apologize if there were any mispronunciation during the session. Thank you very much for your kind understanding. All right, today's guest lecture has really been an enriching experience, but unfortunately, we have now reached at the end of our event. We hope you've enjoyed the session and gained valuable insight and knowledge for our discussion. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, our wonderful moderator, and all participants for making this guest lecture a great success. Your presence and contribution have left meaningful mark on the Adjunct Professor guest lecture at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Brawijaya. As we close, let's not say goodbye, but rather see you again soon. And from the bottom of my heart, I sincerely apologize for any shortcomings or mistakes in presenting today's event. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much. Have a good day, Professor.
Thank you so much, and all of you. All the best. All the best, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Bisa di close ya, silakan. Terima kasih adik-adik semua. Kita akhiri Zoom-nya.